What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be previewing Port Adelaide versus Fremantle, round 23 at Optus Stadium this Sunday at 4:10 p.m. I'm pretty sure it is. It's the twilight fixture for the Sunday. It's your standard Port Adelaide versus Freo time slot, which is going to be an interesting game of football. Fremantle wearing their retro kit. The anchor is back for the Dockers, while Port Adelaide, well, probably wear the white clash Guernsey, I would assume. But we might even wear the black one. It won't really matter too much. I think the Guernseys pretty much are pretty predictable to figure out who's who. So it's not really a big talking point in the scheme of things, but it's a lot to play out in this one. So I'm very much looking forward to see exactly what happens here with Port Adelaide. So let's get straight into it and preview round 23. So a big game for Port Adelaide in particular to keep any sort of top two chances alive. I'm recording this half-time between Brisbane and Collingwood, so I won't actually know the result of this game once you see it. So this will be out obviously Saturday morning. So if Brisbane have won, then we're going to make it a lot more difficult to finish top two. If Collingwood have won, then all we have to do is win the last two games to get this secured, done and dusted. Freo in Perth isn't an easy task. We've seen that previously over the years. I don't think we've actually ever beaten Fremantle over there at Optus Stadium as of yet, since the stadium was officially an AFL ground in 2018. We haven't played there too often either against the Dockers, so it's going to be a weird contest, I think, especially since they're sitting 15th at the moment. They're in good touch. They're not in great touch. They've obviously beaten the Cats a few weeks back. They've beaten the Eagles by 100 points last week. I think every team's pretty much doing that at the moment. It's a game that we shouldn't take lightly. I'm definitely not going to take lightly. We've come in unchanged this week, which is probably a good result. Probably our first stable, consistent selection for a week in a long time, and probably the correct call. Boat comes in as the sub for the weekend, and Francis Evan goes out of the side. Obviously was the sub last week, so pretty much unchanged for that aspect, which is good. I think it really balances the side out. I think we've got a good squad to manipulate the Freo Dockers outfit, and they're obviously going to have their defensive unit pretty much down packed on ours. And I think it's a good opportunity for a game like, for a player like Ollie Lord to take the game on and really stamp his authority as a big key forward. Marshall and obviously Finlayson as well can do that job there. And Sam Hayes is going to have a tough ask in the ruck against Luke Jackson. I don't think it's going to be a winning cause in that middle contest, so I think our midfielders are going to have to read the play quite negatively. And what I mean by that is reading off of Jackson's taps and his ruck work and being proactive in there. And I think we'll see a lot of Finlayson in that ruck battle to just manipulate the contest and match the athleticism that Jackson will have. And obviously their midfield's going to be really pretty powerful. Obviously they're going to have Brayshaw, they're going to have Sarong in there, so it's Rosie Butters versus Sarong Brayshaw, the duo, the young duos of the comp and in the midfield. So it's something definitely to keep an eye on throughout the day. It's not a big game in terms of fixtures in the AFL. It doesn't make massive differences. It does affect Port Adelaide a lot more, as we've said, with the top two. And if we lose this one, Melbourne come into play back in for that third spot. So we have obviously locked in top four. It's a good cause, but this is an unfinished business, and I really expect us to win this game of football. It's one that we need to win. It's one that we should win, and one that I think we should make quite a statement on. And if there's any chance of percentage playing a factor in the top two or top four situation, then this is a game that's definitely got to be made up. And playing it to our strengths, playing that pressure forward roles at McEntee, Darcy Byrne-Jones, Power Pepper is going to have a lot of effect on this game. I think if you haven't checked it out already, the Purple Rain podcast, I was a special guest on for the preview this week of their preview with this week's game. So jump on there. I was talking about in that game, chat in particular, that our pressure forwards are going to be the key reason we do anything this year. Darcy Byrne-Jones, Sam Power Pepper, Jed McEntee, everyone that goes down there and plays a role is a key for us putting scoreboard pressure on. And the start is crucial as well. We had some really good starts the last couple of weeks, the one against the Cats, the one against GWS last week. It's one of those games, again, I think we're going to have to really dominate. But it just spells to me, and I reckon it would spell a lot to every one of you guys as well, it's just a game of football that's going to end up being won in one quarter, isn't it? Like the Gold Coast game, we kick 7 or 8 goals to nothing, and just take the game away. The Optus Stadium is one that we haven't gotten used to. It's one that we definitely haven't been able to perfect. Obviously, we've beaten West Coast a couple of times there, but we haven't ever dominated Freo over there, and that's what scares me a little bit. And they're playing in their retro kit. Fun fact for this year is any team that's worn their retro kit this year hasn't lost the game, which is great because every time we play against history always wins. So that's always fun. But I think matchup-wise, defensively, we're pretty sound. They haven't got a great key forward. Their smalls are really good. Schultz, Switkowski. They don't have Michael Walters, who dominates us every single time. So a lot's in our court to win this game of football. And I think you look at the stars like Rosie, Butters, Houston. I think a good game from Dersma would be quite handy. Boak as a sub, as I said, will probably come into the game at some point. Boak's one to keep an eye on. I think he probably finalises the 23 at the moment. If he can get a bit of midfield time and a bit of playing time this week, if there's an injury or just a matchup that's not quite right, get him into the game quite early and really try and launch him back in, get some consistency going. Because if he's hitting some decent form coming to finals, then he's another aspect of our game that's going to really stand up. And he hasn't had a consistent run in 2023. I don't think that affects his chances of getting a contract next year. I think he's going to get one more year. He's going to have one more go unless we can miraculously win the premiership. And obviously, I think with him, maybe even running off of half-back, him in Houston might be quite handy. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out with matchups and everything, because it's a bogey game. It's one of those games that in the past, it's been like, oh, we're playing Freo, but we might lose. So I hope not. For my tip this week, I'm going to be tipping Port Adelaide by 34 points. A nice 5-goal win. Just get the motions rolling. Get back on the winning bandwagon. We've had one last week. Let's get a second in. Get a bit of a streak going again, going into finals, and tick a few boxes. I think that's all this game has to be. Tick a few boxes. Come out unscathed. No key injuries to anyone. And make sure we put Freo to the sword. Come into next week for the final round. Hopefully there's still a chance at top 2. Before I do sign off, Port fans, there is one quick thing I do want to say, and a congratulations to Dylan Williams, Jace Burgoyne and Kane Farrell. Contracts, extensions for 2 years. Key players in Farrell and Williams have really shined this year. Burgoyne's still finding his stride, but I think over the next couple of years they're going to really find themselves in good positions, and there are a couple of names I reckon we're going to see in there that are going to be causing some havoc on the rebound for defensive, for attacking units, and our defensive unit's going to be absolutely sound. So congratulations to all of those guys. Thoroughly deserved. Well, Port fans and everyone watching, make sure you leave a comment below to let me know your thoughts about this week's game. Looking forward to it. Sunday night. Going to be a big fiery clash at Optus against the Freo in the retro kit. It's going to be nice. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new for plenty more Port Adelaide and AFL content to come your way. The glass table will also be out on Monday, so make sure you check that out in the previous episodes before. My name's Anthony, and as always, come ThePear.